What's up, book nerds, and welcome back to the Lucid Nightmare. I'm your host, as always, Jay Schatzer. And today, well, we're going to be taking it back to the paperback with a comparison from book to the film adaptation. And it's going to be Stephen King's awesome story, The Mist, right here. Really awesome, interesting, and atmospheric and entertaining film. And awesome story that I'm going to compare and contrast and show what the differences are and just my overall thoughts on both. But let's get into it and let's talk about The Mist. So The Mist in both forms is really, really awesome. It's one of my favorites. But there are slight differences, but it's strange enough that the 2007 film that was directed by Frank Darabont, that one is actually pretty faithful to the material. It doesn't stray too far. It adds a few things here and there to kind of bring out different characters and give them other people's kind of perspectives on things. But there are scenes that are added that aren't in it. And of course, the ending is tragically different from the book. But we'll get into all those little details. But pretty much, let's start off with the summary of the movie and the book. It all kind of blends together. But it all starts when some crazy storm comes through this small town. And in the morning, a fog settles on everything. And it kind of overtakes the whole town there. And it centers around David and his son and a few other characters that are all kind of trapped in a grocery store because there is something in the mist. Nobody knows what it is, but the further things go along, we come to find that there are creatures and different weird beings in the mist, and they're snatching them up. So hide your kids, hide your wives, and that's pretty much the gist of it. And it's more of a kind of, it's not only the monsters in the mist and the mist itself that's the kind of antagonist of the film, but human beings in general and the way we kind of freak out when things go wrong. That's kind of the main antagonist of the flick. And it shows it in great detail in both the book form, in the short story, the novella that Stephen King wrote, to Frank Darabont's film version. And they're both awesome in their own right. But the main differences that was able to kind of see when I was reading the book recently, because I've seen the movie a million times, but the book, this was the first time I read it, and I really enjoyed it, but I was surprised how close it was. I thought it was going to be kind of a small, truncated version of what the film eventually became, but it's actually, the entire film follows a lot of the beats of the book, so I was kind of surprised by that. But there are a few little differences here and there. And I guess one of the most things is that the gore is kind of more pumped up. There's more physical, kind of practical effects in the movie that bring the gore to life. Because when they first send the one group wants to leave, and then they're attacked, and they bring back the rope, and it turns all bloody. There's an actual a severed lower torso that they pull in, and that one isn't in the actual book. From what I could remember, it was not in there. They just kind of freak out that it's gone, and there's blood there. There's also the Miss Carmody. I believe that's how you pronounce it. She's insufferable in both iterations, but in a good way, because you love to hate this character. But there's a scene that she has in the film that's not in the story, and it's when the giant insects start getting into the store. And one of the insects comes right to her face, hovers there for a while, and then spares her, even though it's killing everyone else. So that kind of emphasized her kind of cult following throughout the rest of the movie, and gave everyone else a reason to kind of follow her more. And if you've seen the film or anything, which you should, if you haven't seen any of these, or you should actually watch the movie and read the book. But if you want to know the differences, definitely continue this one. But they give it a even more reason of why people kind of lose their minds and fall into following her more in the film than in the book. And also, there's an interesting scene that where David is in the movie. David's talking about he's talking to everyone, but he's mostly talking to Amanda, this other side character. He's telling her that, like, if you turn the lights out, you scare them shitless, They'll do anything. Everyone turns into savages really quickly than you would expect. He says that in the film, but in the book, it's actually Amanda who doesn't have faith in humanity. And they kind of flip-flop it for some... I don't really know why they do it, but it was interesting to hear her doing that dialogue instead of David's character. Yeah, it makes a really interesting swap that I don't really know why they did it. But also, they also add... there's an interaction between David and Amanda that is in the book but not in the movie, and it's a steamy hot love-making scene where they go to the back office and they kind of they make love, they have sex, and it's pretty much showing David's way of dealing with what's going on. A lot of the times we see all the other people, kind of the Hicks and the young kid that go out to the to fix the generator, and then the tentacle comes out and grabs the kid. They're dealing with the situation by trying to solve a problem, and they weren't thinking too straight because David was telling them that something's out there, but that was how they handled it. That's how Ollie explained that they're handling it. That's what they're making themselves feel useful, and they're dealing with not knowing what to do. And I think David and Amanda hooking up is kind of them just dealing with the fear and overwhelming mystery of what's going on, and just kind of, burning some steam, I guess. But I thought it was interesting, and I thought that it was kind of a shame it wasn't in the film, because it gives it more of a human quality. Because, I mean, sex is a normal function in life, and for some reason there's a lot of neutered films out there that don't want to it's like a taboo subject they want to touch on, but it is, it's a human function, and especially when fear is involved and people think they're going to die, that would come into play somewhere. Especially when they were holed up in the grocery store for so long, and they had so much time to kind of go through the stages of fear and stuff like that. So that was an interesting kind of addition to it. But I understand why they chickened out. But then they didn't chicken out on the ending of the film, where they just went straight for the jugular. And I guess we'll talk about that right now, because that's mostly the main differences so far that I remember from there. It was very few and far between. They stay pretty damn close to the book and the film adaptation, and I appreciate that. I think that's really great. But the one thing they do stray from, like I said in the beginning, was the fact at the very final moments of the movie. Now, in the book kind of ends with them leaving the grocery store, heading to David's house, and then David... He looks at he doesn't get to it. He's not able to get to his house to see if his wife is dead or not. So you don't see her in webbing and all that stuff, but he just doesn't think he can risk it because there's too many trees down. So he decides to leave, and they drive on and on and on down the highway, and they end up at a hotel, and he just writes down what he experienced, and that he hopes that he sees an end to the mist, and that he finds survivors, and this ends. But it ends on a hopeful note, I guess, because he hears on the radio a possible voice. So there's hope that there's life out there somewhere, and an end to this nightmare. But in the movie, they go for the horrible despair ending, and it's with them being stranded out of gas in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the mist, with creatures all around. And they decide to off each other, and David takes the gun, and they only have 4 bullets, I believe, and there's 5 of them. And he shoots, so he shoots the everyone and his kid, and there's no more bullets left, so he can't kill himself, so he gets out of his car and tries to get some of the creatures to come over and kill him. And then that's when the mist dissipates, and the army comes through, and survivors come through, and they're defeating the creatures. And he realizes he killed all these people and his son for nothing, and he has to live with that horrible, horrible ending. But yeah, I don't know which one I prefer more. I probably prefer the book ending more, because it would be cool if you could see what happened in another movie or series or something like that. I think the movie ending bugged me the first time I saw it. It doesn't really do anything for me now. I mostly get a kick out of it by showing people that haven't seen it before and seeing their reaction. I remember showing it to my daughter and my girlfriend recently, because I rewatched it for this, and she was just like dumbfounded. She's like, "What the hell?" But yeah, it's a shock ending, but I don't really think it needed that shock ending. And yeah, well, and another difference that I just remembered was the army people. They don't sacrifice the one kid in the book. The two guys hang themselves, and then that kid dies another way. He isn't sacrificed, and Mrs. Carmody doesn't kind of initiate all that. I think it's great that they put it in the film because it makes her that much more of a horrible character and just willing to sacrifice anyone. And yeah, that escalates it, and then it pushes it over the edge when she asks for the boy. Like, we want the boy. My daughter was like, what? But yeah, like the film really ups the ante on the pandemonium that happens when humans just go ape shit and back to their savage primal roots. So the film does a great job in that. I think I love the film overall more than the book, but the ending, I like the book ending better just because it leaves it kind of open and it's not so down in the dumps horrifying. But yeah, that is The Mist, both the book and the movie, and love them both, love them to death, and really glad that I took this on and kind of compared and contrast what was going on in the book compared to the movie. Really cool experience, and I recommend reading it. It's a quick read. I think it is only like 200 and some pages. It flies by, so definitely recommend it. But yeah, cool stuff. But guys, hopefully you like that one, and hopefully you like what I'm doing here. If you do, please like and subscribe and have a comment below because I love to hear from you guys. Until then, I'll see you all at the next Lucid Nightmare. See ya!